How's it going? This is James P. White. That's Chris Mooney. This is a Bald and Short of It podcast, circling the toilet bowl of loathing and hatred. That's what we're all about. That is the new theme of this podcast. We are all about toilet bowls and hatred. And that is, so this is episode number 35. We are releasing it a bit early. We'll get into why next time, or actually later on in the podcast. But what are you drinking, man?
I have Nelson's Greenbrier Tennessee whiskey. It is. You got the homemade swill.
Yeah, I got a Caesar going on, and then the Michelob.
So based on like the last couple episodes, we're talking about the Vizzies and the calories and all that stuff. Like the Michelob, you drink it slower, so you're kind of going back to that. It's actually got less calories than the coolers, right?
Yeah,
And then you got the homemade stuff. You know how many calories are in like Clamato juice?
I don't know.
I don't know. We
Taste
could
it.
look at them. Yeah, I know. I was simply curious. I'm not. There's
I have no
no.
idea.
There's no loathing or hatred attached to that. It's just a question. I'm just asking.
That's
I'm asking purely out of curiosity. And yeah, so we were talking about something before we came online here. And how's it going with your New Year's resolutions?
I'm sticking to the things. It's just it's not working. So
Well, it takes time too, right? Like you might not get rewarded, right away, but long term, it's a benefit. Like, have you had any fast food since like New Year's?
I had a burger one day. It was either that or else not eat. I was out and I couldn't. I had to eat something.
What
I
did
didn't eat
were
fries. I had a burger.
were you at a restaurant?
No, it was. I was with my cousin. It was a drive-through.
Okay, well they have healthy options at those, don't you think?
Not not so much at McDonald's.
Well, they got the wraps, and you could have a mixed salad or
They
something.
the wraps you realize how much in that fried chicken they put in the wrap, how many calories are in that.
You
And
don't have to have it fried.
by the way, 16 ounces of which I don't think this is. This it's in 16 ounces. There's 100 calories in clam.
I have yeah, that's about right. I have 50 to 60 calories per 1 cup. So yeah. There's not much you can do if like besides crushing those ultras or like just drinking vodka,
Or just
soda,
or
like
just quit drinking altogether. and
yeah.
and and hanging out with you, I have to be an alcoholic because if not, I'd be a very depressed individual. Um, I'd spend a lot on counseling. Um,
So like if you straight up drank vodka, like if you're just vodka water, vodka soda, that would probably be a lot less calories than anything else a fella could have, eh?
it is, but one thing I find, especially if I'm having a bad day, and this is just a personal thing, when when I'm just drinking straight vodka and I'm having a bad day, I get angrier easier with vodka than I do with anything else. I don't know what it is. It's just my temper flares when I drink straight vodka.
Well, we haven't like we've hung out quite a bit since you got onto the vodka, and I haven't noticed any.
We had one breakout once,
Yeah,
like
actually, yeah,
not
you
that
make a
long
good
ago,
point. Yeah, you make a good
and
point.
then and also I was drinking vodka the last time I kind of snapped on my movie group, and so I've been kind of stepping away from straight vodka for a bit. Like we'll do a mix. Like again, I'll do vodka water like out once or twice, but it's beer is different. I like because the thing, and this is just me justifying alcoholism, I guess. But the thing is with vodka, it doesn't hit you right away. It hits you after the second drink, and then it just like pulls, and then all of a sudden you go from zero to okay, it's on. I'm fighting someone. Um,
Yeah, and you probably you're probably right about that. I just don't notice because like I'm just kind of conditioned to be emotionally and sometimes physically abused by you. And so if it goes up a notch, like, do you really notice? I mean, I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
going down
Like
that shame
I
spiral anyway.
this like
Like,
I
am
could
I going to
see
notice degrees? He's
dude,
more mean.
if you need a therapist to deal with your uh abuse from me, I know a guy. Um,
Like, when you're cowering, you don't really notice degrees of meanness. It's just meanness, and I guess I've just become conditioned to it.
Speaking of circling the toilet bowl of loathing and hatred, um, let's get into like this is big news over the last. We're gonna get right into the big shit right now. Uh, Mexico, the stuff going on in. I know a little bit about it. The big clash right now is in Puerto Vallarta, where a lot of Canadian politicians and politicians around the world are saying stay out of Mexico because of the violence. Can you explain a little bit? You know a
Oh
bit
yeah.
more than I do.
Well, you know, the thing about Mexico that like I mean, we're Canadians. I mean, most of us have been to Mexico, and like many of us are there right now. I mean, I have friends that just got back. I have friends that are going in a couple weeks, and uh, you know, you don't notice the there's like a détente that's always existed between the cartels and the government and even like the defense forces like the federales and all that stuff. And it's kind of like you let us do our thing, we'll let you do your thing. And like what needs to be understood is like even the pictures that are coming from Mexico now, you see these like armed personnel carriers and like Humvees and shit, and like and it looks like the army, but really that's the cartels. Like these guys literally make like untold billions, and like they probably contribute like billions to the Mexican economy, like through whatever means, with trickle down and all that stuff. But the long and short of it is like this truce, I guess, for lack of a better term that you want to call it, between the Mexican government and the cartel. It's kind of like you stay out of our business, we stay out of yours. Don't fuck with tourism, things like that. It's been, I guess you'd say, long-standing, and whether or not you want to accuse politicians of corruption, I mean, you could go down that rabbit hole, and there is evidence of that, but we're not going to talk about that today. What happened was El Mencho, who's Nemesio Segura Cervantes, he's the longtime leader of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. They call it CJNG, Jalisco Generacion, or whatever.
I think because of how they pronounce their J's in Mexico, I think it's Jalisco,
Yeah,
like
Jalisco.
jalapeno.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
keep saying Jalisco. It's Jalisco, like
Cartel
jalapeno.
Jalisco Nuevo Generacione. Anyways, he was killed, and whether people care to acknowledge it or have read it or not, the U.S. was not involved directly in the operation, but they did provide necessary intelligence for it to happen. But basically, it's kind of like a shot across the bow from the Mexican government to the cartel. I mean, it's one of the most violent and influential organizations in Mexico. So they're going to retaliate. And what better place than like PV, like Puerto Vallarta, and other places where they have a large, uh, influx of tourists pretty much all the time. So that happy balance is going to be disrupted or threatened to be disrupted by the cartel. And yeah, the collateral damage, I guess, if you will, are the tourists who have to lock in place. I mean, as of now, there's obviously travel advisories. Both WestJet and Air Canada are not flying to Mexico right now. Is it going to last long? Who knows? I mean, these standoffs, but I mean, you can't have that kind of disruption for very long in any situation. So who knows? But frankly, if you ask me, it'd be nice if the Mexican government took a stand and maybe tried to limit the damage that these organizations do, not only on Mexican society and culture, but certainly in the States and in Canada. I mean, yeah, like criminal multi-billionaire organizations. I mean, money is power. So
But
it's
some of these organizations though have more money than some governments. Like they have
yep,
billions upon billions, and as you said, they're military. Like they get weapons from anywhere that they can get them, and they have the high tech shit. They don't have, the like it's not they're not shooting rubber bullets. Like
yeah, and that influence is. I mean, it's well documented, and yeah, they could swing dick if they want to, and clearly that's what they're doing right now in reaction to that. So it's kind of like you went one step too far, you took down our leader. And I mean, there's lots of other organizations, there's the Sinaloa cartel and the Zetas, and um, it'll be interesting to see how it um, impacts the balance of power there. I mean, the United States has gotten really um, heavy in their efforts to limit the impact and the import of drugs into the states, and I applaud them for it. And the Jalisco Cartel Nuevo Generacione was actually designated a terrorist organization by the United States, which kind of gives them a little more power to come after them. Whether or not that comes to bear, who knows? But yeah, it'd be nice if outfits like that, were limited in their ability to impact people's lives. The fact that
so,
right now it's coming at the expense of like innocent, well-meaning tourists who contribute to the Mexican economy, that's really shitty, and I don't think they'll allow that to last too long.
so the moral of this story, even though it's not a very happy one, if you can stay out of Mexico, I just about said Winnipeg. I meant Mexico. You should. Uh, the thing is, yes, everybody wants to travel to Mexico. It's nice and nicer there than it is
Cheap.
here at -22. It's cheap, and if you go to the resorts, they're so much fun. If you're like, I was there like a little over a year ago, and there was warnings when we were in the Puerto Vallarta area to not do too many excursions to the outskirts of Puerto Vallarta because there was some turmoil there at the time too.
Yeah.
So just if you're going to travel there, be careful, and make sure that you're aware of shit around you, and if there is fighting, duck and cover.
Well, uh, like one observation I'd like to make is I remember like a couple months ago there were more than a couple mainstream media publications in Canada that published articles encouraging Canadians to forego the United States and their vacation plans, the big bad fucking orange man thing, and go to Mexico. That seems to me that's kind of backfiring right now, but that's neither here nor there. But frankly, if you said, Mooney, you got a one way, all expenses paid, 1 week trip anywhere, and you said Mexico or Cabo or PV even or Winnipeg, I'm probably taking. I'm like, I'll take my fuck if as long as they're flying there, I'll take my fucking chances.
So you're going to Winnipeg.
Yeah, no.
uh, oh, Winnipeg has to deal with a conversation I had with my cousin yesterday about actually going to visit some family down there. But I don't know why it just popped into my head right there. But yes, so just be cautious if you do go to Mexico and be aware of the possible risks.
And you know what though too is like if you're gonna be scared, don't fucking go. Like, I mean, we've been hearing over the last few months, people going, oh, they at in the United States they check they might not let you in, or they put you through a harsher screening process and all that. It's a bunch of shit. I mean, every time I go to the States, people are super nice. I never have a problem. Like the customer service is like usually better. And I mean, it's your money. You do with it what you want. But if you're going to travel scared, don't travel at all.
Yeah, like I kind of agree with you. Like people are saying, don't go to the US because of Trump. But they said that so many, like, yeah, don't go because of this, don't go because of that. Fuck off. If I want to go to the U.S., but if you don't want to go to a place where there are buildings being bombed or being
Of
attacked,
course.
where it's a drug war zone is kind of
Yeah.
all I was kind of getting at. Where some of the articles I've read where is people are being shot, buildings are being shot, bombarded and stuff like that. Just be careful. Like, don't listen to anybody else where you want to go. If you want to go there, go there. But you know,
Yeah. And these things are almost always
do your own
temporary.
research.
Yeah, they're almost always temporary, and it's like, but people have a habit of getting worked up. Like, some guy gets killed in Cancun like 6 months ago, and then people go, well, we were going to go to Mexico, but we heard about that guy. You know how many, like, hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions, since that guy got aced, um, went to Mexico fine. It was no problem. And it's like one anecdotal thing. And then people go, oh, no, we're not going there again because we don't want our car bombed and we don't want our resort lit on fire or whatever. It's kind of like, I don't think I
But
want to travel with people like that because it's like, relax, watch the news, stay informed, and don't be a baby.
do you remember? And this has nothing to do with Mexico. This actually has to do with, kind of what you're saying is fear mongering that can shut down businesses. Do you remember? I can't remember the year. I'm looking it up. That it was on the Greyhound. It was in Manitoba where the
Yep.
guy kind of lost his mind and decapitated the guy next to him,
Yep.
and that shortly after that incident, I think it was like within a year, Greyhound in Canada shut down within a year and a half.
No, it was a lot longer after that. But
Was it?
yeah, because that incident happened 10 or 15 years ago. It was a Chinese dude. He's out, by the way. Um, he didn't even go to jail. He went to some kind of mental thing, but now he's out. But we live in Canada, so what do you expect? But yeah, I can't remember the guy's name. You could look it up, but it was an Asian dude, and he had a history of mental illness, and he cut some guy's head off on the bus. I don't know how, like, a whole busload of people let that happen. Like, sorry, but I would be losing my mind if I didn't intervene. Like, I'd torture myself forever with
When
guilt.
he has a butcher knife, and people do get afraid for themselves.
Sure.
I don't know if I would have, you know, intervened per se, but I would have, called for like done something for help. But
Yeah. No,
you know,
something has, we got to protect each other out there. I mean, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, no, the
but
Greyhounds shut down about 4 or 5 years ago, I reckon, either before or after COVID. And yeah, you take the Red Arrow now when you go to
yeah.
Tabor.
Okay. The permanently in 2018 they shut down Western Canada. In 2021 they shut down the rest in
Yeah,
Canada.
see, 4 or 5 years ago.
But in 2018 it was Western Canada, and that's where it took place. It was in Manitoba, and so it was 10 years. The incident took place in 2008, so it took
Yeah,
10
like,
years.
they're not related.
People started using it a whole lot less. I know that because I used to take it, and the bus between Edmonton and Calgary, they used to have two buses at the same time go because there were so many people. And then they cut down to one bus and it was barely full. Like,
Yeah. Well, you know what?
it's because people were scared to go.
Yeah,
It's like kind of like what you were talking about. It's the fear. It's like this could happen because, and then when they started after that happened, they started checking people's bags and doing metal detectors, and like it wasn't as bad as the like 9/11 with the like air, like you were allowed to take nail clippers, but the but they checked your bags all the time. And, you know, people are like, if I want to do that, I'm going to fly. Like,
Yeah. If you think you're going to be impacted by a situation like that, then go buy a lottery ticket, because you're more likely to win that than be decapitated on a Greyhound because one guy lost his mind one time in like 100 years of operation. But whatever.
but, but it's just the thought that runs into people's heads. Like,
Hmm.
it hasn't stopped me from using it. It's either I take bus or I walk, and it's a long walk between here and Tabor. Um,
Well, you're that guy who's going to be on a vodka drunk, and you're more likely to be the guy that does it.
no, I'm the one that's hung over, passed out on the bus, and not noticing that someone's being dead,
Look
being
at all the
killed.
knives. Look at all the knives you have and shit, and then you go on those vodka
I
rages.
don't, I
I mean, I
don't.
felt your wrath. I know. Like,
Well, if you felt my wrath, you wouldn't be on this podcast. Um, okay, so we're going from terror to Edmonton City Council. Let's get into this because they just recently announced. Because remember, we talked about this a few weeks ago that they were going to take it to the council to put a
more
cap on
more
instead
good
of,
news.
yeah, instead of they were going to limit it to like middle of block, infill from 8 down to 6. They said no, we're going to keep with 8. Uh, so yeah, they are increasing. So all this infill going on, all these big complexes with 8 houses, 8 doors, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's still staying. But guess what? Our parking still sucks. And so
Yeah,
you're going to have on all these places where the streets are already full, you're adding another 8 freaking cars to these. And where are you going to park them? On
minimum,
the fucking moon?
minimum.
Like,
Yeah,
and like, I don't drive, but that's not my complaint. The complaint is now you have cars parked on both sides of the street, narrowing your coming through. So like a lot of people, you have to wait for the person coming this way to go past for you to go through, and they're going to get more and more of it. We have that in my neighborhood. In my neighborhood, between 102 Avenue and 104th Avenue, they are adding 3 more of those
yeah.
big complexes, and it's already nuts. And I don't drive, but it's just I'm in Ubers, I walk, I whatever, and And the problem I have with this, and this is just me bitching, is they park in front of my fucking apartment, and
Yeah,
then they block me from getting to the street so I can get an Uber or cross the street or whatever because they're right in front of my freaking apartment.
I can attest to that because like more often than not, when I come pick you up, um, I have to park in the middle of the road because there's cars on either side, and then you gotta frogger it to my truck to get in, because all the cars, that block away. And like when you have cars parked on either side, there's really no way for two cars to drive by each other side by side. One guy's got to wait for the other guy to go. And I mean, the our activist city council, they literally don't care what people think. They had a public hearing, and it was overwhelmingly against it except for developers, and they don't listen. They don't care. They know that only a certain percentage of people vote, and they know who backs them in the municipal elections. And all they're doing is enforcing their will on people that don't really want it to be enforced upon them. But still, good for Edmonton City Council, because thanks to them, I have a festering, stinky, filthy green box of shit under my sink that every 2 weeks I get to put in the green bin in the back of my house, so that they can pat themselves in the back, saying, "Oh, we've instituted what do they call that, the
Compost.
composting program, and it's thanks to us." No, it's thanks to all of us dummies that store filth under our sinks, in like shitty fucking thin, uh, uh, recyclable fucking bags or self composting fucking bags. It's disgusting, and I
I but
we don't do it anymore. I'm like, fuck this. Like
you
a dump is a dump. Like,
yeah. If the thing is composting is great if you have a garden. I have a friend,
yeah,
like I have a couple friends that they have their own compost bin that they put their shit in and they put some dirt into it. So then they use it for their garden or whatever it is, like next spring.
good
Like,
for them. That's a personal choice, and I applaud them for being creative and maybe
but you don't have to keep it inside. So like because you don't want to put it out in the bin early because it attracts animals and then like it's fucking bullshit.
I think it's I think yeah the most decisions that impact us in our day to support their own agendas and not listen to the electorate, then we have a serious fucking problem. But it's not like Edmonton hasn't been that way since time immemorial. So what, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, it sucks. But the good news is we're gonna get an LRT to the West End probably by about 2050. Um,
Yeah, like
at the rate they're going.
above ground, so everybody
Yeah,
gets
it's
delayed by
they're
a
still
bus
working
carrying
on it.
four people or by a train.
They're
Yeah,
s- they're still working on it. So just patience, folks. Okay, so we did that. I had a little bit of a yell when it comes to the freaking insult, even though again I don't drive. Um, if you don't mind, Chris, I kind of want to do our sports in kind of a two-part breakdown. We're gonna do the Olympics first. Your thoughts and everything dealing with that, and then we'll do in a bit. We'll deal with the rest. Deal with the rest. Are you cool with that?
sure. Do
Just
you
kind of
want to talk
split it
about
up
the
quick.
Olympics?
Let's hit with the Olympics. So I like me personally, I went and got up early for the hockey on a number of times. We went to Sherbrooke,
Yep,
and by the way, they have a great breakfast. I love Sherbrooke. Janet is awesome.
yep.
Like you go there and there's like 8 people. Like on the first day that we did the early morning watching the hockey, there was 4 of us, and then but the last time I went, what I didn't get to see the gold game, but I
You saw
saw
the semi
the
on
one before.
Friday. Yeah,
Yeah, the semi on Friday, and that was a day because I went and hung out with some other friends and watched the American game, and then I went to watch some comedy somewhere. Um, but it was a day. But to be honest, our team fucking like they played hard, and I'm proud of where our both our women's team and Canadian and men's team went, and they played good. They a couple of times I think the other teams had their number when it came to defense because they just
yeah,
crowded
yep,
the front of the net and crowded like made sure they did McDavid couldn't get the freaking puck, even though he got MVP. I know you're going to touch on that, but I was like with the amount of assists and goals that man put in, it shows why he's the best player in the fucking league.
yeah,
But I digress, and I'll let you do the rest, and then I'll do a mental breakdown.
yeah. Okay. Well, I'm only gonna do my personal highlights. I don't want to belabor the point, but yeah, McDavid was just dominant in that tournament. I mean, 13 points in 5 games, 11 goals, 2 assists. I mean, it's a record. He rightfully won the MVP of the tournament. Some people were bitching that Hellebuck didn't get it, but I mean, first of all, the voting ended at the end of the first period of the game, but at the same time, it was one game. Okay, like hold your horses. It was a dominant tournament by McDavid from start to finish, and we should be very proud of Team Canada. The pace of hockey, particularly the last game, was faster than I've probably ever seen in my life. I mean, it was the big winner. in the Olympic men's gold medal game for hockey was hockey, because people that are casual fans are not really but tuned in because of the whole national thing. Um, they were in for a treat. It was a hell of a hockey game. Now, Team Canada was the better team throughout the whole game, except for maybe the first 10 minutes of the first period. And I don't think there are too many people that were watching, or too many analysts that would disagree with me. I mean, the shots were like 45 to like 20 or something. It was nuts. But when in order for the only way to prevent offense and pure skill from flourishing is by shutting it down, and that's what we had to face. I mean, if you're an Oilers fan, you're used to that. When we don't meet with success, it's because teams lock it down. They stack guys in front of the net, and hey, it's a strategy, and if it works, fair fucks. I mean, it sucks for us, but it is what it is. But it was a pretty dominant performance by Canada, and the end result wasn't what we wanted, but it was a great hockey game. And congratulations to the U.S. for winning. And I was slightly envious of how much pride they had in their country, because I haven't seen that in Canada maybe ever, to be honest with you. I mean, even in the 72 Canada Cup, or 72 series with the Russians, I mean, they were booing Team Canada in Vancouver, and Phil Esposito went and spoke directly to fans and said, "Hey, come on, we're trying our best." The national pride thing is not something that Canada excels at. Certainly not compared to our compatriots, or our neighbors next door. But if I had one criticism of that format, it was that the overtime 3-on-3. Come on, man. I mean, this is, besides the Stanley Cup, this is the pinnacle of hockey when you have pros playing it and you have best on best. And 3-on-3 is a way that the NHL is something that the NHL implemented in order to get rid of the tie many, many years ago, and to make it more exciting for the fans. I don't want to call it a gimmick, but it's a way to end games quickly while still maintaining somewhat the integrity of the game. But when you have two teams battling 5-on-5, literally for like 5-on-5 for 60 minutes, 60 hard minutes that everybody has to endure, and then you actually take an intermission, like they took an intermission. You don't need an intermission if you're doing 3-on-3. I bet the over under for somebody scoring on a 3-on-3 would be like 4.5 minutes. Someone's going to score. You don't need the intermission. But if you're going to go through the whole intermission thing, and we're talking about the best players in the world at their best, trying their best, why are you taking four players off the ice? Why don't you keep it 5-on-5, sudden death, and may the best team win? The thing about 3-on-3 is a lot of times it relies on those odd man rushes, and you just get that breakaway, or you get that 2-on-1, or you get that one defensive breakdown. And guess what? It's in the back of your net. And it's a little less reflective of the talent and the competition if you just have a gimmicky 3-on-3 thing. That's not sour grapes. Congratulations, US. Hell of a hockey game. But it would have been nice to see it end the way it started, 5-on-5, with two goalies and the teams battling it out. That's just my opinion. Other stuff with all I'm going to say about that is with the Olympics, I pretty much just watched curling. I didn't invest a lot of time watching other stuff. One thing I came across, I'll mention quickly here, was mountaineering. And if you haven't seen it, just check it out. I mean, I got tired watching these people. Like, it's a combination of like guys running up the hill on skis, doing, I don't want to call it an obstacle course, but kind of like like a slalom-ish kind of running up, and they just keep running up this goddamn hill, and then they get to and then they got to rip off these grippy things on their skis. They have to put them in their pouches, and then there's like a set of stairs. They got to take their skis off, put them on their back, run up like 50 stairs, and then get back, and then they ski down, and that's where the finish line is. And I was just like, I was out of breath watching them. And then they get to the end, and they're just walking around talking like they're not even out of breath. I'd need like a defibrillator after that shit. So that's the first time they had mountaineering in the Olympics, and I was struck by like just the endurance of these athletes. It was crazy, and I hope they keep it. The only other thing I watched was curling, and the Canadian men's team was just phenomenal. I watched pretty much all their games. Same with the women; they were great. Canadian women beat Sweden in the round robin 8-6, but they ended up losing to them in the semifinal, I think 6-3. And sometimes with curling, it just comes down to breaks. So they got a medal. They won the bronze. Um, I think they deserve better. But they came back from being down one win, three losses in the round robin. Uh, Elbowed their way into the semis and just unfortunately couldn't get past Sweden, who ended up winning the gold. So congrats, Sweden. But the curling I always find really compelling, and the men were just dominant. Like lots of people heard about the controversy with the guy touching the rock, which was a bunch of bullshit. But yeah, that Brad Jacobs team just fantastic. Mark Kennedy, Ben Hebert, and that other fella can't remember his name. They had a great Olympics, and they ended up coming home with the gold, and it was well deserved. And boy, they were playing the number one team in the world in Great Britain on Saturday for the gold, and they were just unflappable. And they ended up getting three in the at the bottom of or the ninth end, and that got them the win. They were down one and they got three, and Great Britain had the hammer at the end, and they just couldn't make it work. So that was really awesome. I was really proud of those boys, and they really deserved the gold that they earned. So that's my Olympic summary. I got to tell you though, um, it's awesome having the Olympics. Like summer, winter, I always watch. Even for a few minutes watching the sports and stuff. Like summer's more compelling because like pretty much every sport they do is watchable. I don't need to see five different versions of a half pipe or whatever slalom shit. Um, but yeah, Olympics are awesome. But I'm excited and happy to be looking forward to a game on Wednesday in the NHL, and we can talk about sports later. But that's
Yep.
my now. Are you going to have your weekly medal breakdown?
Yes, but and this is the Jimmy mental breakdown, metal breakdown, um, just to make you happy.
Look out,
Okay,
Jimmy's on the
so
vodka.
that was
Metal
one drink.
breakdown incoming.
So Canada ended up 11th in total for medals. So Norway was first with 41 medals, 18 gold, uh, 12 silver, and 11 bronze. US 33 total, 12, 12, and 9.
Are they
I'm doing
second?
it in their second. Netherlands was third with 20 at 10, 7, and 3. And then and then Italy was fourth, but they had 30 medals, but they had 10 gold, uh, six silver, and 14 bronze. So even though they had more medals than Netherlands, Netherlands had more gold. And so,
Well, even so, that what a great showing for Italy, like being the host country. I mentioned it last week where you kind of always you cheer for them a little bit, like the Cinderella thing, or like being in front of home fans and giving them a treat. So good for them. And we talked about this last week. How many participants each country might have had, and I think
yeah,
you said Netherlands had 80 or Norway had 80, and they won 41 medals.
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
that was
sick,
less.
man. That's
Yeah,
super impressive. Like, and I mean, yeah, some guys won four or five or whatever. I know one dude won six, broke an Olympic record, and if like so, that doesn't mean half of Norway's athletes got medals or whatever, but still, what a program. I mean, and just bring that many people. I mean, like medals per athlete versus cost per athlete or whatever. That'd be interesting to see, but I don't know. Canada's result is a little. We sent almost as many people as the states. We ended up 11th. They ended up second.
yeah. Norway, as I said last time, had 80 competitors, 49 men and 31 women in 12 sports, and they ended up in the top.
Yeah, yeah, that's incredible, man. Like, and what's funny is, you watch like the CBC coverage or you talk to people and they go, you know, it's just so great to be part of the global community, and it's not necessarily about winning as much as it is about collegiality and fair play and all that shit. And then the U.S. wins gold, and they're like, "Fuck the U.S." You know, like pick a lane, motherfucker. Like, but yeah, congratulations to Norway. That's really impressive.
See, that's where I have a bit of a problem. I'm before I mention talk about Canada. That's where I have a bit of a problem. Just because you don't like the country's politicians or the country's the country's stance in the world, celebrate their fucking athletes. Like if just because they're Americans, they still busted their ass for the Olympics. It doesn't matter if you agree with their country's politics or what they're doing right now politically. These people are technically fighting for their country on the world stage when it comes to sports. Not actually fighting, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
They're
battling, competing,
and
whatever you want to call
battling.
it.
So that you can't disrespect the athletes because you don't like the freaking country they live in. Like we don't choose the like 90% of the time, or okay, 85%. We don't choose the country that we live in. We don't choose the country we were born in. Like
Yeah.
I,
Well,
that angers me when they single people out because they don't like what their country's doing. Well, I live there. Like like myself personally, I don't agree where what our government is doing. So why would I be singled out because I'm competing for uh, as an athlete for the Olympics? Because even though I don't agree with what
yeah.
our country's doing,
Well,
like
you know, like you said,
it makes no sense to me.
yeah, and I mean, you have some some athlete who gets up every morning at 4 and practices every day and has more determination and tenacity and skill than like and possesses so many attributes we wish we had more of or we're better at. And then because they're waving a different flag, you're going to be a fucking asshole. Like, maybe look in a mirror, or maybe look within and ask yourself, am I being the kind of person I'd like other people to be around me? Like, you know, good for every athlete that put in the time, win or lose. But
And
at the end of the day, I'm celebrating the people that won because it's still about competition. We shouldn't be
yes,
ashamed to say, like, hey man, good effort, that guy's better than the other guy.
but like Canada, we ended up. You mentioned it with in 11th, we had 5 gold, a 7 and 9 bronze, and then so a total of 21 medals. And way to go! Like the thing is you have to look at it like this: could you fucking do this? Like, could you
Yeah,
go in? Could you do get up in the morning at 3 o'clock in the morning and train in your sport? You're not just doing like playing the game. You're working out. You're like I struggle with losing 10 fucking pounds, and why would I catcall someone who won a freaking silver? That's something
yeah,
I could never play to save my life. If
yeah,
I had, if like, it's like it's jealousy, I think, but it's just it's hate in a way that just angers me. Like you can't hate an athlete because of the country they're from, or show hate, anger, whatever.
yeah. I think we have far too many people with an inferiority complex that try to make up for it um, by being holier than now, or saying, you know, like, or adopting a judgmental perspective and saying, like, I'm better because, even though it's all driven by an inferiority complex. But, you know, getting back to your point though, I think that I think I'd be pretty good at mountaineering.
Oh, you'd be great. You'd
I think I could
especially
do it. I
be
mean, why not?
you'd be great going down the hill. You could roll down faster than anybody else. Um,
Those guys would be climbing over me. In fact, no, they wouldn't because I would. They'd be halfway up the hill before I got fucking 20 meters.
they you 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 get up towards the top of the hill if you got ahead of anybody, and then all of a sudden the people are going avalanche as you're falling down. Um,
I'm never getting
like
at anybody. And any sport I watched, I mean, the dedication that those athletes possess and the commitment, I mean, they should all be celebrated. And you know what? The good way to like, here's to all of those athletes and all the time they put in and the show that they put on for the 10 days or whatever it was that we got to see them in the Olympics.
yeah, but it just oh they're Americans, so they like fuck off,
Oh, and then the
like
subtext too, like how many fucking jerk offs coming after Gretzky again? You know, like all I have to say about that is like fuck you. He's one of the greatest Canadians ever, one of the nicest guys, one of the best role models, one of the greatest ambassadors to the game. And some people are gonna just because a guy plays golf with Trump or like he said he's friends with prime ministers, presidents, when you're a nice guy, you're friends with everybody. And for like
but
some of these insecure, inferiority complex possessing motherfuckers with a chip on their shoulder feel better about themselves for judging somebody who's accomplished more in his life than you would accomplish in a million lifetimes of your shitty life. Go fuck yourself, in my opinion.
I you know what like he's a respected athlete, and he has been from day freaking one.
Yep.
And again, who he's friends with or whatever, what the hell? Like he's still a great freaking like known as the greatest of all time when it comes to freaking hockey. Like yeah, the problem I have with stuff like that is just because you're friends with someone different than they are, that you have a political thought different than somebody else. There's no reason to show hate.
Yep.
Like
100%.
the thing is that's like when I get into the pink shirt day stuff and I get into that, that's another issue. Oh, you don't believe in this, you don't like this, so therefore there's something wrong with you. No, there is something wrong with you with thinking that I have to think the same way as you do. Like
That's bullying unto itself.
it is, and it angers me in every way, shape, or form. Like people get like pissed off because you don't agree with them on everything. If everybody agreed on everything, this would be the most boring fucking planet there is, that
Yep.
everybody thinks the same. Everybody agrees. Like there's no conversation. There's no discussion. Yeah, it's okay. So the whole thing is love the athletes. You might not, and the country, because to be honest, I hate my politicians, but I love where I live. I do. Like I live in Alberta and I live in Canada and I live in Edmonton. And and the thing is just because you don't agree with something that your politician is doing doesn't mean you hate the athletes or show hate towards athletes that are representing that country. I just
Yeah.
wanted to leave it at that
Yeah. Okay. And
because
I'll
it's
just say, like,
just so
just sort of to
stupid.
piggyback on that is that like I touched on earlier, like they represent the best of us. I mean, so much of what they do is aspirational for so many of us, and let's celebrate them. And they just happen to wear a flag that you may or may not like. I mean, admire and celebrate their commitment and their dedication, and tell your kids, you know, like these guys should be your role models. The way they dedicate themselves to a goal and do everything they can to accomplish it. And just touching on the what you say about the cultural aspect, I've watched every game since you and I, except for the final, watched 4 games at Sherbrooke and
Four or
three.
five, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
at least four.
Um, and you know, one game there was like 3 of us or 4 of us at the bar, and then the Friday game there was like half full. And I'm proud of Alberta. I'm a separatist. Like, by the way, I just got my badge and my sheets. so I can sign anybody up to the petition. I'll be coming after you, Jimmy, but we can talk about that some other time. And
It's a good thing I'm armed.
yeah, and that, I mean, I'm a McDavid fan. I watched all the Germany games because I love Leon and Josh Szymanski. I mean, the flag is one thing, but the cultural experience of being in a room with a bunch of people at 6 a.m. on Sunday morning. Some people are already into the beer. Some people are having a coffee and a Bailey's, but most people are wearing the maple leaf, and just the cultural aspect or the significance doesn't have to be Canada. But I was in a room with fellow Albertans cheering on a team that we were all cheering for, and sharing the ups and downs together, and having a nice Sunday morning with each other, and that's pretty much the most important thing, in my
But
opinion.
but yes, I just want to end with one thought, and it just popped into my head with the fact that these athletes have been in Italy for 2 weeks without their families. They've been training, they've been this, and they've been busting their ass to win these medals. And respect that.
Yeah.
Respect the sacrifices that they give. Like it's not like they're going to war, but they're there and they're focused on winning and winning for to representing Canada. That's what you have to remember is the fact that they will do things. Could you be away from here for 2 weeks, like working out every day, preparing for these games, Chris?
Yeah, but like, I mean, I don't think I'm representative of everybody else. You
No,
know,
but you know what I mean. But you know what I mean, right? Like it's it's they're doing something that most people wouldn't do.
no, 100%.
So
No,
respect
and
them for
they're
this.
dedicating themselves to a pursuit that demands everything they have, and and yeah, there are a lot of the things that we take for granted every day that they put on hold just to give them every advantage they can in an effort to achieve their goal. And again, that dedication and that perseverance is something that, frankly, I believe, I'm fairly certain that we all aspire to have in greater measure.
Yes. And so we're gonna change subjects slightly. So as I like to say, on a different note,
Hang on, though.
I've just said
I wanted to say one thing. Just okay, we'll close.
you
This is
always have to end 3 times. I know how
no.
that's how you work. Okay,
Well, I
hit
didn't
it,
come here to
baby.
be judged.
Uh,
Are you like
well, sit back and relax.
got the vodka? You're gonna fly into a rage soon, or
What? Okay, just speak.
anyway? On Saturday, Andrew and I were watching curling, and I think, yeah, that was the men's final. And she said, like, these guys curl like every day. How do they do their laundry? Because like, they have, like, how many athletes? Like, over 500 athletes, probably more, closer to 1,000 athletes in the Olympic Village, right? And I don't know, like, do they have a bathroom on every floor? Do they, like you think about all the infrastructure required to do all that? So anyway, I went on Grok, I AI'd it, and they have, like, institutional, um like, some laundry outfit gets the contract, and you basically drop it off, and they have it back to you by the end of the day or whatever. And yeah, not to mention the fact that your country probably, like, if you're curling, I mean, they wear the same thing every game, same shirt, same jacket, same pants. And yeah, like, so they might have a change of clothes for because they got a game in 15 hours or whatever.
Yeah.
And but yeah, you just drop it off. They give you a receipt just like the dry cleaner. And I don't know if they deliver it to your room or whatever, but that's how that works. But I mean, you think about all those little details like that it takes to host and all that infrastructure. And if somebody goes, Edmonton should really host an Olymp, I'd be like, no fucking way. I don't want to pay for all that shit. Like, crazy, crazy, cuckoo.
But on the same note, but on a different note, I was actually thinking of doing a Bald and Short of It podcast sponsored musical event that we will be sponsoring, so you will be financing. Um, and it's but it this will be something that I think you might be okay with. Alex Van Halen confirms an album that he's working on
Yep.
with your good friend Steve Lukather. I think you're brothers or something. You talk about him like he adopted you when you were 4. Which includes previously unreleased Van Halen recordings.
Yeah.
That is fucking cool.
Oh yeah. Further to that, actually, I read another article yesterday. I think with another interview that Alex did. Um, but for those of you that don't know, like Steve Lukather is a principal songwriter, founding member and like vocalist because he sung on a lot of lead vocals like 99, Georgie Porgy, I'll Be Over You, Won't Hold You Back. I mean, the list goes on. Um, he's played on over 1,000 records, like as a session guitarist. Like Running with the Night is a good example. He played every song on Thriller except for the solo on Beat It. And yeah, pretty accomplished fella. And basically, Alex Van Halen and Eddie Van Halen, all they did pretty much all the time that they had together, when they weren't touring or recording, and was like jam. They jammed all the time, and they worked on music all the time. I mean, these guys weren't just brothers; they were best friends. I read Alex Van Halen's autobiography that ends before the Sammy Hagar era, and yeah, they were literally inseparable. And so all they really did, the biggest thing they had in common was music. So Eddie was always forward looking, and he was always trying new things and working on music and stuff. And there's some really, really, really good stuff that they have in the archives at like the old 5150 studio that Alex feels like needs a little polishing. And he got, who better to get than a guy like Steve Lukather, who knows a hit when he hears it, but also is a dedicated craftsman. And like, he would hate that I said this, but certainly close to being on par with Eddie Van Halen in terms of a capable guitarist. But I bet he won't even want to put any guitar on it. He might do like a little rhythm picking, but that's it. But yeah,
This
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm just saying this is cool. Like Van Halen, like their early stuff into the later, and Eddie was one of the best guitar players of all frickin' time.
Yeah.
Like like he's I remember like when I heard that he had passed, I was still working in radio, and we played like tons of Van Halen tracks for I think 2 hours or something like that. And but it's hit because shortly after Wolfgang, his son, did release that song that he wrote for his
Mammoth.
dad.
That's a great
Yeah,
outfit.
Mammoth.
They just did their third
Yeah,
album.
yeah. But he. I can't remember the name of the song, but I can hear it in my head. Um, but yeah, like the thing is not only like doing this will help the band, but it will like it's a memory to Eddie.
Yeah.
Like
I
you know
think
what I
it's
mean? It's
yeah, I think Alex said that, like, I think Alex's sentiment, and based on the articles that I read. And by the way, this isn't really, really news. Like Lukather had an interview or like months and months, 6 months ago, and somebody mentioned they heard that, and he goes, "Oh well, I don't know what I can say about it or whatever." But it's probably just him and Alex going through, maybe the recent archives of stuff that they'd worked on, and finding stuff that they could maybe incorporate into a song. They Alex in that interview talked about a singer, whether or not they were going to have a singer and attach that singer to the music that they put together. Van Halen fans would probably like that. I don't know. I'm For all that you want to say about Eddie's guitar prowess, and there aren't enough words to describe it, but he deserves more credit or as much credit as a musician. Like I'm a Van Hagar guy. Like I like the Sammy stuff better than the Dave stuff for the most part. I like both, but if you force me to pick, I would. And his musicianship on like the Van Hagar stuff, especially, was like just phenomenal. And those songs, some of those songs are just, I literally haven't heard anything like it since. You know, his work with the synths, which I'm not a big fan of. So many of those things, and I mean, I think that that came at a good time because I think maybe his musicianship and creativity might have been stifled a bit by Dave. If you're a like a lifelong musician, perpetually looking for creating more, perpetually trying to create more music, you're going to go in different directions. It just is what it is. And having the opportunity to have a different sounding board in Sammy was probably, I mean, it really helped with his evolution as a musician. Alex probably wouldn't agree with me. He tends to look nostalgically on the David Lee Roth years, but yeah, you can't deny the man's musicianship anyway.
Yeah, I do agree, but it's it's actually like I saw that article and I'm like, okay, where have I heard that Steve Lukather from? Oh, give me a second, Toto. Like it's like Mooney's like God of music. Like
Yeah,
it's all
like
you
like
talk about.
like you have no idea some of the songs he's written too. Like some of the George Benson hits, like "Give Me the Night." Uh, like him and Jay Graydon, like they were like studio rats back in the day in the '70s, early '80s. He played on a lot of yacht rock stuff. But I mean, you're so good that Quincy Jones had you record "Off the Wall" and "Thriller" with him, you know, and arrange and do all that. I think what a perfect guy, and not to mention the fact that him and Eddie were like best friends. And he said, like, we don't like when we get together, we just hang out and brag about our kids and just talk about life. We don't sit around and we don't really talk about gear or play unless one of us got something new we wanted to try out. But we were just friends. And to have a guy like that at the helm, like for someone like me who's a Van Halen fan, massive Van Halen fan, and Toto's arguably like is one of my favorite bands of all time. To have the two like multi-planetary forces combined to create a new galaxy. Oh, I'm excited. I almost sound like a
Like
nerd.
yeah, but like Van Halen, like I'm a huge fan of the David years, the
Yeah.
David Lee Roth years, but I also like David Lee Roth's like solo stuff that he did with Steve Vai and stuff like that. But yeah, like the Van Halen, it's see that's the thing. You can still like one and like the other and still be okay.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. You don't have to.
just because you're a fan of the David Lee Roth era doesn't mean you hate the Sammy Hagar era or like
1,000, 100%. Like our world is so polarized. Like people have it in their fucking tiny brains that we all have to like be on one side or the other. Like it's either black or white or whatever. It's kind of like, you know what? Gretzky can play golf with Trump and he's not a fucking asshole and he doesn't threaten your way of life. Okay. It's like I can like the Dave years and I can like the Sammy years. I don't have to like pick one. You know, like they each have their virtues. It's kind of like I listen to jazz, but I also listen to Van Halen. Like, you know, like I mean, holy cow! Um, Slow your roll, folks. It's okay that you can like more than one thing, and sometimes things that are like juxtaposed with each other, right?
yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to trigger on that, but it's just like there is a lot of people that go, well, Sammy was better. Yeah, but but they still had some really big hits with David Lee Roth. Like,
Yeah, like Sammy was different. How about that? Right? Like,
yes,
why don't you just go with that?
it's
And I'd love to meet the Van Halen fan. Another one. I guess you're like me. So I guess there's two of us, like me that goes. I like Van Halen. Period. I like both periods. You know, like how about you too? I mean, they came out and they were almost like post punk and whatever, and then they come out with like Actun Baby, you know, and there's a lot more layers and nuance. They evolved, and that's one of the reasons why they've been able to hang around for like 40 years because they were able to reinvent themselves and they had an audience that expected it from them or were like open to the idea that you didn't have to fit in this silo. It wasn't black and white. I don't care what you put out. I'm looking forward to hearing from it because I admire you as creators of music. How's that? Like, fuck out of
But
here.
but you just said Van Halen, the two eras. There was actually three because Gary Sharon was with them from
Yeah,
99 to 90, sorry, 96 to 99.
yeah,
And he was the lead singer from Extreme, who is
yeah.
a rock band I'm a huge fan of. Uh, but but yeah, like the thing is, Van Halen is Van Halen, and each singer had good songs and not so much. But I'd go see the band anywhere if it had any semblance of those men.
Well,
Like
if
I'm just
everything
saying.
works out, we'll be seeing Van Halen, like the best of both worlds in Vegas in September.
And speaking of Vegas in September, do I have a deal for you? So actually, this almost sounds like a sales pitch. Like
What
I
are you
saw
fucking selling
this,
furniture?
I, I
Your
saw this, and I and I
vodka laced voice. Do I have a deal for you? Gonna pull
I
up in my
saw this,
house in a
and I'm
van
like,
and offer me candy.
if we're going there to see Van Halen, we have to. It's around the same time, September 17th to October 3rd. There is a residency for a rock band who I'm actually a fan of, the Scorpions. They've done a lot of anthems. They've done a lot of great songs. I've been in radio. They're all over the place. They will be there at the same time in Vegas as the Sammy stuff. Just saying.
And there'll be baseball on too because it'll be September. So we should really circle that in the calendar. But I'm not a huge fan of the Scorpions. Like I know they're popular
Dude,
songs. Do you think though that if we went, they would take us to like the magic of the moment in a Gorky night? You know, I hope so.
what?
There's a song they have called "Winds of Change."
Okay, I don't
Take
analyze the
me to the magic of
lyrics.
the moment in a Gorky night, whatever. I guess you're not as big a fan as you think you are. Speaking of the
I don't
Scorpions,
analyze the lyrics. I just know their music.
Klaus Meine is the lead singer that whose voice we remember from their biggest hits in the late '80s, early '90s. I think it's mostly '80s, but I could be '90s too. And they had a handful. I think they're from Germany. Um, they were founded in 1965, and the only original member of the band right now is Rudolf Schenker, who's the lead guitarist. So I don't know who they have singing for them now, but I do know that trip to Vegas or that residency in Vegas also features Buck Cherry, who'll be opening for them, who I really like. So you can go
Uh,
and watch the Scorpions, and
yeah, you
like
know what? I'm a
I can put you on
huge.
my
I
shoulders so that you can see them, and then I'm gonna leave after Buck Cherry and hit the floor. Maybe play
I'm
some
actually
Hey
a
Now.
huge. I'm a huge fan of Buck Cherry too because I think they wrote a song about you. Um, it's called Crazy Bitch.
Yeah, this is when the vodka rage starts manifesting itself. This is
Oh,
this is why we don't do podcasts together anymore, like live, because
hey,
I worry
wait.
about my safety with the vodka rage and like
Oh,
yeah the
yeah.
emotional dysregulation and threats to my safety and my emotional well-being.
Okay, so I'll make you feel safer. Here's my way of making you feel safe. I will give you the next 4 minutes to talk about the rest of your fucking sports.
The rest of
Hit it.
Edmonton, the world sports, Edmonton,
Okay. Okay. Hit
there
it.
there are only really two big things to report since we've been consumed by the Olympics for the better part of 10 days. Um, the Oilers did not go into the break very well. They lost 3 games in a row and they were outscored, and their play was frankly atrocious. And even before any announcements were made, a lot of people said we miss Paul Coffey behind the bench because Edmonton, without getting into too much detail, we're a possession team. That means when we get the puck, we got to move it quickly up ice. So if the puck goes in our end, we got to have forwards. Forwards weren't coming back enough, so the defensemen had to make like 60 feet passes, which are much more likely to get intercepted, and then odd man rushes back, and all of these things. And these are big factors in the three losses we had coming into the playoff break. Well, lo and behold, Paul Coffey's back. And a lot of people kind of called him a defense whisperer. So we're looking forward to the impact that he might have on our D. And hopefully it's positive. Well, I know it can't be worse. So that's one thing. The next Oiler game is in 2 days, Wednesday the 25th in Anaheim at 8:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And the NHL season continues unabated because they play the next night Thursday in LA. Something to keep in mind, and who knows what we're going to get, but I'm hearing that Kasperi Kapanen is going to be out for at least a couple of games. I'm also hearing that Connor McDavid, they might bring him back slowly, and I don't disagree with that at all. I mean, the emotional drain, not to mention the physical, and traveling like across what 4 or 5 time zones. Um, give the kid a break, and he's going to be hungry after what he went through. And the last thing you want to do is tire him out, give him some time to recover. I don't even mind if we lose the first couple games back, like as long as we're competitive, if it means giving him a rest because it's well deserved. And like, how many miles are you going to put on your Lamborghini for fuck's sakes before it's worthless, right? So anyway, the other thing to remember with regards to the Oilers is that the NHL trade deadline is Friday, March 6th. It's at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And if we're going to contend for a Stanley Cup this year, we do need to shore up our team. Our veterans have not performed at all to the level that was expected of them. Janmark might have one goal. Trent Frederick has turned into a massive bust. Free agent addition Andrew Mangiapane was asking for a trade 2 months ago, and or a month ago. They're still working on it. Don't be surprised to see him gone, but it might be costly because whoever gets him is going to have to assume another year of his $3.6 million contract that Stan Bowman gave him in the summer. So, but we need the money off our cap so we could bring someone in, like a second pairing right defenseman or a third line right winger or center. And I don't think that we have the money to get both. So just have to keep our fingers crossed. But one thing I will promise you, dear Oiler fan, is that by Friday, March 6th at 1 p.m., we're going to have a few new faces that can help us in our quest to get back to the Stanley Cup final in 2026. I know it's not 4 minutes yet, Jimmy, but sports, last thing. Spring training for the Jays started a couple days ago. Most of the foundation of the team that made it to the World Series is indeed back. Some of the names that left was voluntary, like we didn't mind, but new faces and new names to keep in mind in terms of what we got over the winter and free agency is Dylan Cease, definitely starting rotation guy. I think he's a Cy Young Award winner too. I might be wrong. We're going to get a full look at him. And another big name signing that nobody knew about or nobody recognized their name was Katsuma Okamoto from Japan. And just an all-star in Japan. Like, I think the kid's 27, 28, just ripe to dominate in the majors. I don't want to get anyone's hopes up. I don't want to get my own hopes up. I don't want to be disappointed, but I think we played our third preseason game today, and Katsuma Okamoto scored a home run already, like a 311-footer or something, 411-footer. I don't know. Looks really good at third base. So there's a lot to be excited about with our dear Blue Jays. And spring training. But basically it means that if you missed baseball, in our case since October, you've got games to watch, just preseason, albeit, but more exciting in 1 month plus a week. We're back to the regular season, and it's the boys of summer. Back at her, motherfucker. In the meantime, you can quell quench your Blue Jays thirst by tuning into Sportsnet just about every day to watch some of the preseason games. And I highly recommend it because the boys are back, and I know I, for one, am looking forward to it.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Like I understand you're like 6 minutes over what I gave you. Um,
You're not
since
sleeping.
we started this at trust me, it's 6 minutes. But I have one question for you. When is the Blue Jays home opener, and where are we going to watch it?
Oh, good question. Um, I don't. I think we start like it's always by April 1st. Um, but I don't know the exact time. But we will go. Let me check. Blue Jays. No, Blue Jays open. So do we want to go to watch the season
The
opener or the home opener? Because sometimes they're
home
different, right?
opener. Yeah, home opener.
When is Blue Jays opening day? Day 2026. Because opening, you could be opening on the road, right?
The Blue Jays, according to this, home opener is Friday, March 27th.
Ooh, that sounds like their first game. It is. It's their first game. They're playing the Athletics. They're playing the Athletics at
Is
5 our time. Opening night, home opener, March 27th against the Athletics. That's the 20. Yeah, awesome. We are watching that game, Jimmy.
Yes, it's a good thing we didn't go to Vegas during that week.
Well, you can watch games in Vegas. The fuck are you talking about?
No, I know, but it's just that's also my St. Patty's Day week, which
Yeah, maybe you'll be dried out enough by March 27th. Like your vodka soaked
oh
fucking rage
nope,
incidents.
St. Patty's Day I drink beer I drink beer or Jameson because people buy me shots. Um,
Are you doing the tour again this year?
I've yes, I'm actually booked for 3 days, but we'll get into that in a bit.
Am
Next
I allowed
time,
to come?
because yeah, as long as you don't pretend to know me. Um,
So say we get out of the limo and go, okay, well, I'll see you in half an hour. I will see you. Enjoy your time at the saloon.
uh, I love you and hate you at the same time. Okay, speaking of speaking of that, circling the toilet bowl of loathing and hatred, I'm going to get
As
into
we do.
something that's as which is the new theme of our podcast. Is I'm getting into something a little bit different, and it's again we
Fellas,
kind of
right?
touched
Like
up.
we always knew. We always knew.
We
Guys, right? That's okay. I'm going to lose the pool, but good for you. And just so you know, we love and support you.
thank you for that introduction. Going into Pink Shirt Day. So what it is actually Pink Shirt
You're
Day
welcome.
is this Wednesday, which is the 25th, and I have a panel. We talk about bullying. I have some really different, like cool people on this year. I have my friend Naomi Carmack as the MC. I have a representative from the Zebra Center, as well as I have a guy I've known since I've been in radio. He's listened to me at both stations I worked at. That's really wanted to kind of touch on it. His name is Will, and I'm looking forward to this. It's gonna be a good one. So it's gonna be 2:30 Mountain Standard Time on, and it's gonna be on Zoom. I posted the details on Facebook, and you can message me directly or email me at jpwhiteent@gmail.com if you want to join the stream. Yeah, as a joiner, you're watching. You're not part of
Discussion.
the panel, but you can ask questions because there will be in the Zoom meeting. You can put in questions, and they will be answered at time constraints may
Permitting.
cause issues. Yes, what he said. But this is like one of my favorite things. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. Uh, if if there was something like this when I was a kid, where there was someone that was talking about being bullied and stuff like that, it probably would have changed a few things in my life. It would have. Um, but my goal with doing something like Pink Shirt Day is to just help one person. And the more people that you get this in front of, the more chances one person can be helped. It's the truth. Like the more people that see it, like not everyone's going to be moved by the conversation that happens. Not everyone is going to go, "Oh, I bully other people, I'm going to stop." Not every person changes their choices in life from from a video or a conversation. But one person, and then one person turns to two, and then boom, 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 boom. And like my goal is not to get rid of bullying, but to help people get through it, to help people that are bullies to stop, to help people that are being bullied to seek help, like from friends, family, whatever, or for the bystanders to not deal with it anymore and go, "Hey, it's enough. Quit picking on somebody else." That is my goal, because the more change that happens, even if it's one person and it excels, it has to start at one. And that's my Pink Shirt Day, and that's this coming Wednesday. And if you can't make it during the actual live chat itself, it will be put on YouTube where you can watch it after. It's it's something that means a lot to me, and it truly does. And yes, again, this Wednesday.
Good for you, Jimmy. I'm glad you're doing it, and I know how much it means to you. So please, anybody listening, if like, just tune in. Like you don't have to be, you don't have to consider yourself like someone who's being bullied. But like Jimmy said, being an ally, um, being an intervener, stepping in and going, hey, someone with the courage enough, like that we talked about this in another example earlier in the podcast, the courage to go, that's enough. Like let's stop fucking around over here. Um, but there's a couple things you said, Jimmy, that I wanted to address. The first one is, like you said, if I can help somebody, and I love that, it's a noble cause, but um, and I know your approach and it's kind of aligned with this, but I want to make sure that it's understood that you know w- one of the biggest obstacles for someone being bullied to overcome is to understand that they're not a victim. And it's like the greatest, in my opinion, okay, and we can debate this, in my opinion, the greatest gift you can give someone who's being bullied is empowerment, and the feeling that you're not small. The small person is the one that's coming after you, and oftentimes, like, that mental approach of like not feeling weaker or supplicant or smaller or victim ish is an important tool to have in your toolbox.
Can I jump in?
Yeah,
Uh,
because
because
I
the
have another
theme
point, but
this,
let's deal with this one
but
first.
but my theme with this year is you're stronger than you think you are. So
Yes, good,
you
awesome,
just said
awesome.
you're not a victim, but it's also not your fault that you're bullied. It really, like so many times. Well, like I had people go, "Well, yeah, but he was lippy." Well, I was defending, like I digress. But you are stronger than you think you are, and that is the thing. And
Oh, were you talking this whole time?
Yes.
Okay, good.
And you're back. I was waiting for you.
Yeah, good. So we don't. Maybe you don't have to cut that. But uh, no, like that whole point about. I mean, the greatest tool that you have that you can possess in overcoming that is going like, I'm not. And it doesn't matter what walk of life that you choose or where you are in your life, is the idea that um, I belong to a world that in which I can control my outcomes, or at least I can control how I manage, how I respond to my outcomes. I mean, and and I can take control over how I manage what the world does to me and what I do to the world by having a perspective that allows me to grow from every experience. Right?
Yeah, 100%. But also dealing with that is, guess what? You're okay the way you are. You might be different than other people. You might be short. You might have like no hair. You might have like great
Fuck
hair.
is that supposed to
You
mean?
like no, nothing. I'm just listen to the words that I'm speaking. The thing is you are you, and nobody defines you but you. Like you're who you want to be. You're who you are, and love yourself first. Everything else is second.
Yes, that's good advice. So you mentioned on like earlier, you know, you said that if you had a forum or something like what you're doing when you were coming up, as a kid that maybe didn't have all the tools or was being bullied or whatever, that that might have changed things for you. But we talked about this last week, and I want to make sure that you don't discount the value of the support network you had when you were growing up, like with your wonderful
Oh
parents.
well, 100%. Like I like my mom and dad. Like my dad, uh, my being small was not an excuse for anything.
Yep,
It was figure it out, do it your own way, and get it done.
yep,
And like that's was it. But but when the shit hit the fan when I got beat up, my dad was the first one to the school to go,
yep,
"What the hell is going on?"
of course.
And and he pushed me to many limits, and as I would not be the person I am today
Yeah,
if it wasn't for my family. And I also have aunts and my mom and my sister who used to stand up for me and then get bullied. Um, that's part of that.
yep,
Like my auntie Eileen, who used to live in Edmonton until she passed a couple years ago. Um, she was always my biggest cheerleader,
yeah,
and when I was going through pain, like being a little person, you struggle with joint pain and stuff like that, especially
yeah,
when you're younger. And if she was there, she was the one holding the hot water bottle to my legs.
yeah.
And
No,
man,
like,
but those people uh, keep me pushing, keep me going, help more people, get in front of more people. Like, because I made it through it. It wasn't easy. It was not easy, but anything worthwhile isn't easy.
not supposed to be. Just
The but I didn't do it alone, and no one has to do it alone. That's why I have the Zebra Center on, who helps young people that deal with that. I like deal with being bullied or deal with whatever it is that they're dealing with. I I do it in schools where you have your teachers there to go, "Hey, I'm here for you." And we don't have to do it alone, but we have to do some of the work.
Yeah, I
Just
think,
saying.
yeah, like I just wanted to underline the fact that, like, despite the fact that you might have found what you're doing helpful, um, that there were so many other factors that make you the man you are to be well poised to help people deal with those challenges. And another way to look at it, I guess, from your perspective, is that you're not just sharing what you've learned based on your experiences, but you're also sharing the wisdom that that super awesome, like, what do they call the men in the wall in Game of Thrones? uh,
Oh,
uh, like, um, like the white no, but you had that support group. It's just a word that I was going to attach to them. But
the White Walkers.
no, those are the bad guys. The guys that were
I
on the
know,
wall, the men on the
but
wall. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, you had those people, and you're not just sharing the wisdom of your own personal experience. You're sharing the wisdom that was passed down to you from the people that took up for you and had your back and were in your corner. And like if there's a way that you could do something with your hair and maybe clean up a little bit, like, it might be effective. And also, like, one other thing that I wanted to ask you about is, I know that you mentioned that you're just having a discussion with a select group of people, so no one can, like, verbally, or like, you're not having a round table or anything, but people can text in or whatever, or like,
yeah,
on the
through
discussion.
through Zoom, you can actually text in and like message in your questions, and actually half the discussion is dealing with questions. So it's
Oh,
exactly
okay.
1 hour. So it's exactly 1 hour. It goes from 2 to 3, and half of that, plus or minus a minute, um, will be questions, and then we all have final goodbye statements that we always say. But so yeah, Pink Shirt Day, as I said, is coming up Wednesday, which is the 25th, and it will be none other than James P. White, and I've got a number of other people, and it will be running from 2 p.m. till 3 p.m. on Zoom. And but again, Bald and Short of It podcast. See you next time.